Hi guys, Mr. Kesslering here. I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how to make story boxes, which are a fun way to show off a scene or a setting from your story. To start off, you're going to want 4 pieces of cardstock that are the same color. You can use construction paper or even regular paper, but in my experience, cardstock seems to hold up and bend around the least. So if you can get your hands on some cardstock, use that. As you can see, I have used a ruler to sketch in the frame on the top piece, as so. The bottom pieces you're not going to need to sketch on though, just leave those ones blank. The reason being is that this top one, you're actually going to cut out this center part to make the opening to your picture box, and then the other 3 pieces are going to make up the side walls and the back of your picture box. So just leave those ones the same as they are. These are the pieces of cardstock you will need to create the setting inside of your story box. So make sure you get some colors that match one of the scenes or settings in your story. Start out with about 3 pieces and then see if you need any more. Try not to be wasteful. Make sure you reuse any pieces that you can. Third, you're going to need some strips of translucent plastic. I just like to use the leftover laminator plastic, but really any translucent plastic will do. Then, of course, you're going to need a story printed out, preferably on 1 sheet, but 2 sheets is okay. Some kind of large construction paper to attach your story box to your story. And then, of course, you're going to need scissors, a pencil to be able to sketch out the things that you're going to cut out, a glue stick or white glue will do, and a stapler is honestly not necessary, but I like to use it to make sure that things are fixed very well to the rest of your story box, because in my experience, these things are going to be hanging upright on the wall, and as kids see them and want to touch them, and as gravity takes its toll, they're going to start to fall apart. So I like to use the stapler just to reinforce places that I know are going to have a lot of things falling off. Once you've got all the materials together, we're going to go ahead and start by creating the actual box part of your story box. And we're going to create the front part just by stabbing your scissors through a little bit to the left of this line, and then just cut it all the way out. Be careful when you stab your scissors through, because if you do it too violently, of course, you're just going to rip this thing apart, and then you're going to have to start over on the front part of your box. Next, you're going to take the side walls and go ahead and fold one of them hot dog style like this. Then you're going to fold it hot dog style again. And then you're going to fold it hot dog style a 3rd time. This can be kind of tricky, and as you can see, it's starting to get a little bit off. It's not completely lined up, but just do your best you can. Just remember, the more it's off, it's just going to be kind of crooked. It's not going to hang quite right. So just do your best to try and keep it as straight as possible. You can see even I couldn't quite keep it perfectly straight. You're going to do this for both of your side walls. So you're going to have, when you're finished, you're going to have 2 of these to make your side walls with. Hold on to those, and I'll show you in a moment what to do. Your back wall, you're not actually going to do anything with. Just leave it just as it is. Once both side walls have been folded 3 times each hot dog style, you're going to want to undo them so that it looks something like this. However, we're not going to leave them like that. You're going to want to refold the pleats in alternating directions so that it looks like this. More like a fan. I find the best way to do this is to pinch the pleats with 2 hands and just keep pulling them together in the correct direction, alternating like this, until you have something that looks like a fan. Do that with both side walls. You should now have these parts of your story box ready. Go ahead and take this part and put it aside for now. We're not going to use this for the actual story box frame itself, but you can always use this to cut out stuff for the setting. So once you have all these parts, go ahead and set up the side walls like this so that the ends of the pleats face inwards. Then take your front wall, which is the frame, and you're going to actually paste that on there like that so that it's in front of those outside pleats on the side walls. And you can paste it on or staple it on. I'm probably actually going to do both to make sure it's really well fixed on there. The back wall, do likewise. You're going to glue that on each part, glue that one there. You're going to glue this one right here like that. Once you've got it all put together, it should look something like this. And you can see on the top and bottom where I've added staples to reinforce it in the front and also in the back. Once you've got the main part of the box put together, you're gonna wanna take another piece of cardstock, same color, and you're gonna wanna cut strips the width of that piece of paper, 2 of them to be exact. You're actually gonna use these to hang things down from the top of your story box, from up here. Next, you're gonna take those pieces of paper you just cut out, you're gonna staple or glue them to the top, like so, matching them up with the pleats on the opposite side. Alternatively, you could just also make more frames like this, cut them out, drop them down inside and staple it as well, and then you'll also create a nice bottom border where you could staple stuff onto later. Now you're gonna wanna cut out the pieces for the actual setting in your story box. I got some clouds, some seagulls, a boat, sun, and 2 layers of waves. And if you look at my waves, you'll notice that they're a width, again, of a sheet of cardstock. And the reason being is that I'm just gonna slide those into those pleats and staple them in just like I did those 2 strips of paper on the top, creating a nice 3D effect. Now you can see that I've actually started to insert parts of the setting into the story box. Things that you want to seem really far away, you actually want to glue onto that far back wall. And as things get closer, you're going to insert into the pleats and glue them in, staple them in just like you did top strips, but instead you're going to do it on the bottom. So you're going to turn it upside down, put those strips in like I did with the water, and you're going to glue and or staple those in. And you can see I attached the boat to that bottom wave, and it kind of creates this cool 3D effect. So to put in the other parts, I got some plastic. So we're going to actually attach the clear plastic to the parts that you want to hang down inside of your story box. Now you can see that I have glued the birds and the clouds to the ends of the pieces of the plastic. And I have glued the other ends of the plastic up into these sheets of paper that we attached to the top. Then this just creates another level to that 3D effect. Of course, you could add more in here still if you wanted to. You can put things into the side, just one side pleat sticking into the middle like that. You can see that there's a set of pleats in the front right here and here that I didn't even use. You could put another strip of paper there and still add yet another layer. And of course you can make things sticking up from this front layer in the front, or you could add more layers even on the bottom. So that's it for the story box itself. Now we're gonna look at actually attaching the story to it. Finally, I've taken our story and attached it to a piece of black construction paper and attached our story box to the top of that. Then simply hang it from a tack strip with tacks or staples. And that's it. Our story box project is finished. Hope you guys enjoy this project as much as we did.